I have just a few notes for you, Rich, this week. Mostly what you've been doing is working on some of the figures and techniques that we've been talking about and done a number of videos to do notes on. So one of the things we put back in this week was the double reverse spin. And in the syllabus, we have that in waltz and in quickstep. I think right now we don't have it in our present silver routine because we were doing so many other figures. But we want to keep that up so that we can put it in later, or that we can put it in other dances for showcases, or when we eventually do open. And eventually the double reverse spin can become an overspin, which is a really nice figure to use in the advanced levels. So what we were talking about on your double reverse was to make sure that you use that foxtrot type rise, whether you're dancing in a waltz or quickstep or any dance foxtrot, it doesn't matter, you still need to use the early rise. And what I was noticing is you were doing sort of a waltz action, a swinging action like you would do in waltz when you're going through one. We were not lowering it to the one, of course we lower on the preceding movement. Let's say if we're dancing waltz, 3 and 1, but we would rise at the end of 1 rather than a commence to rise at the end of 1. So there's a different handling of the leg. So the exercise that we did, and we have done this before in the studio some time ago, and I may have even done a video for you, using the wall or just some place to balance, just getting that sense of immediately dancing up the ramp, rising through the standing foot and not dancing through the ankle and the shin in the same manner that we would do for the swing of a waltz, let's say for a normal reverse turn. I've got the birds going again. So the other thing we were talking about is how you always have to back up another step. So we see the rise, feel the rise, or talk about the rise through the left foot. I'm using my right leg through the movement into my left leg and up through my foot. So this leg will not become empty. At the point where I've danced my hesitation, and I'll have a bit of body rise, of course, but no foot rise. Using that leg, I want to use that leg to send myself into the next step. I'm not going to say push, because in the walking phase of any of the steps that we do, the push is the last part of what happens, and it's the same thing in the dynamics of walking in our normal life. We don't push off the foot. We allow our weight to start moving. The spine is beginning to move. That inspires our leg to swing. And then we have the push-off phase, which is the point where the weight rolls through that metatarsal joint, the first and second metatarsal joint, right? And then through onto the big toe. That would be the push-off phase in a normal walk, and so it is in the dancing too. But even there, we want to be aware, talked about this before too, that we're using the big muscles, using our hip muscles and our thigh muscles and down through the feet. We're not trying to just push from the small muscles of the feet. So if we get this sort of pushing effect, or the push phase comes too early in the walk, you'll have a jump, you'll have a thrust, your weight will go too quickly onto the foot, you'll have a hard landing. So we've been trying to learn to control the transfer of weight. It's a very important part of getting the ease and the style in the dancing. So I want to make sure I'm not pushing from feet or using the push phase before I move my weight, before I swing my leg. So the exercise of the early rise is to make sure that you keep the leg a little bit more braced. Don't go down through the leg so much. Give the energy from the back leg, and just practice rolling up and bringing the leg underneath. And you can just hold on to the wall or the door to practice that. Just rolling up and letting the legs track underneath the body. So that will also, I hope, help you to get a little bit more rise through your feet and use of the ankles, because you look. The other thing, once again, this is a theme we've been talking about, is although the second step may be a side step, it's never taken to the side. It's always begun as a forward swing. So I'm thinking of swinging forward, and in my imagination I'm turning out into the future. The last thing I want to do is, boom, turn right on top of the girl, put my right side on top of her, and bury her there. So thinking of my turn out in the future, I'm going to accommodate for my lady's space and dance around her. So I'm rolling up through the foot, swinging the leg. It's going to continue its forward swing out into space. Right, so the turn is happening through the swing. And then, of course, we want to keep the heel off the floor. Now, you don't have to be extremely high, but we don't want the weight sitting down on the heels when you do the spin itself. I don't know if I can do this here on the carpet, but I'm going to roll up, bringing the legs underneath. I'm going to think of swinging forward into the future. And I'll turn in the future using my head, and then turn with my heel off the floor. Other than that, take a look at the video I did last week describing the movement between 2 and 3 of the weave, and then between 3 and 4 of the weave, which is the partner outside for the outside change. Your full-way reverse looked really good. So we've already corrected some of the errors there where you had step 3 to open. You're getting that nice closing action of the thighs in CBMP. And you're also getting a much better slipping action here. And I noticed also your left arm was not stuck forward. You're beginning to bring the left arm with you so that when you finish, you're in a nice position. So things are coming along really well there. And I think those are the points that we needed a reminder on for this week.